Hello, amazing souls. Welcome to the Soul Vibe Insights Podcast, a show to demystify the soul, intuition, and the Akashic Records. We know a thing or two about the ups and downs of being on a spiritual growth plan and how to find the higher perspective, even when it seems like there isn't one. I'm your host, Maddie Hollingsworth.
And I'm your host, Emily Pearl. We've been professional intuitives and energy healers for over 20 years now. We believe each of us are on a unique path of growth and learning, and our intuition is meant to be our guide. The problem is, most of us have never learned how to use it. That's where we come in, helping you discover how your intuition works and the lessons your soul has chosen to learn in this life is what we're all about.
All right, y'all, let's jump right into today's show. Hello, amazing soul friends, and welcome to today's show. Me and Emily are going to get into your soul's life between lifetimes and tell you what we think that really means. We'll also be getting into Journey of Souls because every one of us is on our own unique soul journey and path. But first off, let's get into a quick little life update because we've been doing some pretty exciting things here.
We crossed off something off of our bucket list.
Bucket list. Something's not on there anymore. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we went to Monument Valley. Wait, that was last Monday, wasn't it? Or last Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, last Tuesday.
So not quite a week ago.
Yeah. And then we're in our last couple days here in Moab, keeping a little 17-year-old kitty.
Yeah, she just had her birthday. That was Sunday.
It was Saturday. It was the 31st,
Yep.
yeah. So she had her 17th birthday, and we'll have to say goodbye to her on Thursday morning and be venturing off to our next destination,
Yeah,
which is Salt Lake City.
Big old city of Salt Lake City. Yeah.
It'll be a total different vibe because right now we're just staring at red rocks and nature and the LaSalle Mountains, and then we're going to be really close to downtown Salt Lake where we'll be around people and we'll be able to walk places. So it'll be a totally different vibe.
Oh yeah, there won't be thousands upon thousand acres of BLM land right next to us. There's like 15 houses within 5 miles of us or something out here. I mean, it's pretty.
You think that many? I don't know. I've only can see 2.
Yeah, we can only see 2, but on the jogs I've taken, I've run into a few more.
Oh.
Kind of in this little 10,000 acre area that we're in.
Cool. And one of the most exciting things, if anyone is interested in seeing how beautiful this scenery is that we recorded our very first course.
Yeah, Introduction to Spiritual Protection.
Yeah, we're super excited about this course because the information has added so much value to our life. I mean, it's pretty much been a total game changer for us to learn how to protect ourselves spiritually and energetically and just what that means. So yeah, we're excited about getting that launched.
Yeah, we don't
have the exact launch date yet, but
we're working on the editing right now, but we'll be getting this together pretty soon. So if you have any interest to know about spiritual protection, drop us a little message and let us know.
Yeah, or stay tuned because we'll be launching it soon.
We'll definitely be telling you about it when we do.
So shall we dive in?
Let's dive in.
Talk about the soul.
I think that's exactly the place to start. You want to lead us off?
Sure. So let's talk about the soul. When we talk about your soul, what we are talking about is that infinite part of you, the part that holds the information of who you've been, who you are now, and who you will be. Or the probabilities of who you will be, I guess is a better way to put it. But it is essentially that infinite part of you, the part that will continue to live on far after you are no longer around, and the part that originated far before you ever were in existence. What we have found through lots of different research, different kind of Akashic Record research, and then our own personal research with life between lifetime sessions and past life regressions and spiritual regressions and Rohan sessions. This is kind of part of the work and the research we've been doing for the last, over 20 years now, is tapping into the soul and what that means for us. And then we've been lucky enough to actually be able to tap in to what that means for other people in our Soul Journey Akashic Record readings. So I feel like, I don't know, it makes me think of something one of our friends said to us once, and I don't think she's like a true believer of the soul necessarily, but she made the comment, I do feel like there is some sort of intelligence trying to get this meat puppet of mine, or meat suit, or what'd she say? Meat puppet?
This meat puppet suit of mine.
This meat puppet suit of mine to do stuff that I know that I would be good if I did, but I just can't seem to motivate myself to do it fast enough. I do think that we all kind of tap into that part of us, whether we are believers of the soul or not. We know that there's some sort of innate intelligence within us. And we also know that we have innate strengths within us. There are definitely some things that, just something that comes easy to you that you're like, I never learned this in this life, but yet here I am, and somehow it comes supernatural and easy to me. So chances are that's something that's part of your soul learning, or that's part of something that your soul trained in, either in between your incarnations or before you ever came into this incarnation, like in another lifetime.
Yeah, whether that's another lifetime here on Earth or another star system that you've been into. But it's safe to say that these innate strengths and gifts of your soul don't come from your parents' teaching or mentoring. These are things outside of that. You didn't go to school for this. They just naturally seem to be a part of what you're good at.
Yeah. So I guess to summarize, when we talk about the soul, we are talking about that infinite part of you that also contains the information of the whole of your life's path, your soul's path, the higher perspective on what you are here learning right now, what you are wanting to learn in the future, like basically where you've been and where you're going. And so your soul kind of has the information of all of that.
I would like to add that the soul is also known as the higher self.
Yes.
When we come to Earth and incarnate, we don't bring 100% of our soul's energy. So when people talk about tap into your higher self, that is the soul energy that is not here going through the same earthly experiences you are. Once you come back with your soul energy, all will be integrated and known. But right now, this is the part of you that still remains with that higher perspective. It doesn't have that spiritual amnesia in a body like you do right now, trying to tap back in. So you can communicate with that part of yourself and try to tap in. But it's just good to know that when people talk about the higher self, they are talking about your soul as well, but it's the part of you that's still in spirit.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, the part that you integrate back into, like after your earthly life is over, you integrate back together with all that energy, and that's how you kind of go through your life review, and that's how you gain the higher perspective on everything in this lifetime. I feel like there was one other thing I was going to say about that. The times that we've checked in the Akashic Records, when we've done the Soul Journey readings, we've found that most of the time people bring about 50-ish% of their soul's, what would you say, their soul's light with them, soul's information.
Their soul's energy.
Yeah, soul's energy with them. And it's found that if people are having like a really hard time in life, there is a chance that they've brought much less. They've like kind of overshot it. They're like, oh, I'm only going to need 25% of this soul's energy. And then you get here with the amnesia, and then it's like, oh, fuck, this is way harder than I thought it would be.
A good earthly expression is you bit off more than you could chew.
Yeah, for sure. So that's definitely something that can be at play as well. But for the most part, of all of our clients that we've checked on so far, and ourselves, we've found that roughly about 50%. We bring about 50% of our soul's energy with us.
At least with our clients, and talking with one of our mentors about it, who taught us to do the readings.
Yeah, Anna Sace.
Anna Sace. She talked about that a majority of souls bring around half. But depending on the goals you've had or your life mission and stuff like that, you may possibly bring a little more to give you a little boost, or you might possibly bring a little less. Some people come and incarnate in 2 bodies at once here, so you can't bring half your energy to both bodies, so you might have to roll with 30 and 40% and leave some back home in
Yeah,
spirit.
that's very ambitious.
Yeah, that would be really, really ambitious, but
And,
it does happen.
Yeah. And the reason why you may want to do that is if you're trying to really like accelerate your soul's growth, you may try to be like, all right, I'm going to come in 2 different bodies and try to basically get this show on the road. Again, when you're up in spirit and you're just looking at the earthly probabilities, you don't realize exactly how difficult it is to actually be here. So I feel like it's good to just reiterate, if you are listening to this podcast or even just here on earth right now, you are a very brave soul, very courageous. It takes a lot of bravery, strength, willpower, and just, it takes a lot. Yeah, a lot of fortitude, resilience to be here now. So you should at least feel good about yourself because you're here.
Yeah.
So well done.
Well done, y'all.
And thank
Cheers.
you for being a part of the beauty here on earth.
Yeah. Third dimensional reality is, well, it's a duality and a polarity and everything in between. We'll get into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
On just exactly what it means to come here to earth and why it's so challenging.
Yeah, so let's talk about the soul's journey. What does the soul's journey mean?
For me, it begins when that immortal self decides it wants to have its own unique experiences and to be born into the universe as a unique and individualized piece of spirit, of creator, of God, goddess, the universe, to have its own soul journey on its own, to learn and to see what it's like to go through the process of being in a growth-based universe or an evolutionary universe. I tread lightly with the word evolutionary because it tends to conjure up climbing a ladder. Like every time you do something, you get better and you're going to get higher. Or how we've talked that the word ascension gets thrown around right now a lot. How people are ascending, but it's really more about growth and your successes and the mistakes or something we might call failures. Whether we're moving forward or backwards, it's all experiential knowledge. It's all learning potential. So don't think of growth or evolution like every lifetime I'm getting better.
I know, I used to think that.
I did too.
And I was like, one day I'll be vibrating so high, I'll just disappear like the Mayans did, you know? They're so lucky. Or you just get to disappear, dip back into spirit. But the more and more research that we do and the more and more personal experience that we get, we realize that it's not quite like that.
No,
it really is about just experience.
Experience.
And growth.
And what you take from your experience and what you do about it.
And how you feel about them.
Absolutely. How you feel is really important. How you feel about that experience or those people that were involved with that experience. And are you going to hold on to things or are you going to just let that experience be and then keep moving forward to have more and new experiences with life? So at some point, your soul decided it wanted to do this. It wanted to have its own experiences and to go through this process of growth on its own.
And so what happens after that?
Well, the first thing that a soul does is meets with what we call incubator souls, and basically very mothering energy that just loves on these souls and loves on them. So the first thing they experience is unconditional love. So you have that innately within you. You know that this universe is based on unconditional love. There is no judgment in spirit. There is no right or wrong. Just welcome home and we love you. We're so happy to see you again. And I think that happens so we innately know, whether you can tap into that or not, it's there within, that experience of unconditional love from the Creator. Non-judgmental, just unconditional love.
Unconditional love.
Yeah, it makes me think about that meditation we did with the Barbara Bennett group and that one woman.
I know, it was amazing. It was so beautiful. But I loved the way she said that. It was amazing.
She had that old raspy like woman voice. Remember her background was palm trees and a beach and stuff, and she just kept going, unconditional love. Yeah, every time I say that, I think about her. Thanks for bringing that up.
But it was so loving, though. It was so loving. Okay. So you're with the incubator souls and you're getting all of this unconditional love and you're like a little baby soul now. And so you're just like you would be a human baby. You have no experience. You know, when you're a baby, you don't have experience in that lifetime. You have your soul's experience, but You're this little baby and you don't have any experience. So then what do you decide to do?
Well, at some point you start to notice that you're not alone. There's a bunch of little souls, and some of these might be your friends. And you might be able to form soul groups together and do some exploration and at least have your infancy and toddler years together. And then as you start to develop more unique interest, you'll start to break off. But at first, I think souls just notice, hey, I'm not alone. What's happening? What are you doing? Oh, yeah, let's vibe. Cool. Yeah, you feel similar. Yeah, let's do this. And you start to group together and figure out where you want to go in the universe. Are you going to be an earth soul or what we call starseed souls? So you're going to kind of choose where your, let's call them your formative or foundational beginning of your incarnation cycle. What star system, what planet are you going to choose? Because going there and having your formative lifetimes, your first several lifetimes there, is going to help form the basis of your soul's personality, your soul's energy, innate strengths and gifts that you have. So I think we kind of form these groups and then we start to incarnate together.
So how does that all come about? From what we've found in the Akashic Records, depending on which planet you originate from, then you're going to have these different qualities that you gain from that planet. I mean, I'd say a big part of our client base is from Pleiades.
Oh, we've seen a lot of Pleiadians. Absolutely.
And so when you're from Pleiades, what are the main characteristics of those souls?
Oh, those Pleiadian souls, I would call them the movers and shakers. They get things done.
Yeah, a catalyst for change.
Yeah, they want to move quick too. I'd say the one thing that can trip up the Pleiadian souls faster than anything else is they want to go from A to B. They want that quick fix. And if they have to go from A to B to C to D to get there, they just want to cut that straight line over to A to D and bypass B and C sometimes. So I think some Pleiadians when they're younger might get tripped up by the ends justify the means, where they might skip a couple things that need to be done in there. But Pleiadians are really old souls, and most of the ones we read for are 150 or more lifetimes here on Earth, that they're mostly kind of past some of those learnings. They're just getting things done. Like I said, they're the movers and shakers for me, and the ones that we know personally. They're very much that way.
If you know someone in your life who seems like they just kind of advance quickly, far surpassing, like if you're kind of like I am, where you feel like, dang, I feel like I'm running behind in life. And then you see someone who's like, it seems like they just it's like no matter what they do is successful and they're great at communication and great at getting things done and accomplishments, then that's probably a Pleiadian soul.
Yeah, I would say there's a good chance of it.
Yeah.
Especially when, they start their first business and they're successful immediately. I mean, everyone has a little bit of growing pains with those things, but they seem to move through them quicker than most humans.
Yeah.
That's definitely a trait of a Pleiadian soul. They just seem to get through things quicker.
Yeah, they've been incarnating for a long time, so they've kind of been here and done that, and they've been a part of what Earth has become, essentially. They've been a part of like the makeup.
They were some of the first starseeds to come here to Earth early on in the existence to sort of test run the features of Earth before we were in third dimension, when we were a fifth dimensional planet. We're speaking of Earth, so we're going to speak in linear time, but in the past, multiple tens of thousands of years ago, Pleiadians were some of the first to come here and helped tweak the blueprint of Earth by how their lives went and giving the feedback of what the experiences were like. As Earth evolves through its different ages, things have changed in part from a few, but especially the Pleiadians coming here. Absolutely.
Well, I feel like we've seen a lot of Maldekians too.
Yeah, which is cool because I'd never heard of that. But for those of you that haven't heard of Maldekians or Maldek, that used to be a planet that lied in between Jupiter and Mars, and we know it as the asteroid belt because it's all that's left of Maldek, the planet. They destroyed their own planet long, long, long time ago. These Maldekian souls have always been very headstrong, super intelligent. They're the kind of, when they're here in a human body, they're the kind of human that just looks at things and understands how the order of systems and things need to work. Think of somebody who manages a warehouse flow. thousands of products moving in and 100 employees having to deal with everything and get it going and all the coming and going and shipping and happening, like a Maldekian soul, that would come easy to them to be able to just process and manage all of these mental things and how everything goes into place and how it needs to move to be more efficient.
Yeah. Whereas when you're talking about emotions or something of that nature, then that may come a little bit more difficult to them.
Absolutely.
So what we're trying to point out is that wherever you incarnate, you do have all of these positive attributes and all these positive qualities, but then there are challenges, of course, because you come to Earth, and Earth has the psychological, the spiritual aspect, the mental and the emotional aspects. And so most of the other places do not have all of those coexisting at once like we do here on Earth.
There's not another place in the universe that I have found out about yet that is just like Earth, that has the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, the physical makeup all at the same time.
But I'm definitely going to keep my mind open.
Absolutely. I'm hopeful to find it because nothing is 100%. Nothing is totality. There's always the possibility for that to be possible, whatever it is. Working with some of our mentors, heard them, a student, we'll be in class and a student will ask a question and it's always, well, that's possible because anything's possible. But in my experience, this is what I come across is usually the answer, but they never close the door when it comes to souls.
Yeah, I just don't think you can.
I think that's a very smart move, and it would show the closed-mindedness of that human if they're just, well, no, it is exactly like this. And when we talk about these other star systems and planets, the only thing that is totality is God, Goddess, the universe, is the one. So whether you're a Palladian or a Maldekian or an Earth soul or a Vegan or a Speakin or an Arcturian or whatever, we check for 28 different potentials when we do our Akashic Records.
I think there's more than that.
Is it 30?
33. Should just know. 33, it's our number.
So we check on 33 different potential soul group of origination affiliations. But the point is, no matter which one that you would fall into, you're going to have strengths and you're going to have areas that would be more lacking. And that is why you come to Earth, to learn and to grow and to bring your strengths here, to vibrate that natural energy that you have. Like Speaking Souls bring the vibration of enlightenment with them. Where they come from, it is an enlightened system. Vegans bring playfulness and connections to nature. We talked about the Palladians. They bring that like mover and shaker and hustle, get things done kind of energy here. Communications, yeah.
Yep.
Maldekians bring super strong intellect, just naturally vibrating that here and showcasing it. But every soul group also has these energies that we lack in. And that's why Earth's so important, because you can learn how to hone these other skills.
Well, and balance the energies out within you.
Yes.
So if you have something that's really strong and then you come to Earth and you're like, oh man, this was a really big strength where I came from, but it doesn't really work as a strength in this way. Like, for example, being loving obviously is a beautiful strength. But when you come to Earth, being too loving can get you taken advantage of, or it comes with like a air of being a bit naive about things where you could find yourself in danger because you may trust someone too much. So being loving is a wonderful quality, but there are times where it may not be a humongous strength. And so that would be part of why you would probably want to work on discernment. I feel like that would be a great quality for you to work on, if you were such a super loving person that you ended up getting taken advantage of a lot. Or let's see, what's another one? Where you are just kind of a go along with the flow type soul, which is a great quality to have, super fun to be around, but you may have trouble accomplishing your goals within your lifetime. And so maybe you want to work on self-discipline, because now you're like, oh crap, going along with the flow is not serving me in some ways, but it's serving me in other ways.
Well, I'm just making everyone else's dreams come true, or I'm just doing what others want because I'm like, cool, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's flow, absolutely. Or
So
some self-discipline might help you actually get to the meat and taters of what you crave to do, what your true heart's desires are, and not just flowing with what's happening around you.
Yeah. So just to kind of, I mean, that's just like two very tip of the iceberg examples of how you may want to balance some energies out. Because of course a lot of times when we're looking at people's soul records, I mean, some people are working on 1 or 2 life lessons, and some people have been working on like 5 or 6 at once. It just really depends on how ambitious of a soul you are, or if you're wanting to spread your energy out, or how strong certain attributes are and qualities are within you, and how strong you need to balance that certain quality out. So it just really depends.
Yeah, that's a good point. Even something that's a very strong gift or considered a strength may need to have you to work on balance here as well on the earth plane. So it's not just about perceived things that are lacking or something that you may have a weakness with versus a strength in other aspects. Sometimes your strengths or your lacking energies really need to be balanced out, and that's what makes them even stronger. If you can get it done here on earth, you can get it done anywhere else in this universe.
Well, at least as far as the knowledge that we have as of now.
No, that's true.
So I feel like we're talking about some good stuff, but we're kind of getting off subject as far as like the soul journey goes.
I want to jump.
So we've talked about how you become conscious as a soul. You're like, I want to have an experience of my own. And then you notice that there are other souls around you, and then you kind of become part of groups, so to speak, and then you may want to incarnate on a planet together, maybe Earth, maybe another planet, just depending on what I don't think it's a cut and dry system. I think either you're like, these are my natural gifts, and then I'm going to incarnate here, or maybe I want to take it easy on myself, so I'm going to incarnate in this place first, just to kind of dip my toe in the water. I don't think it's very clear on exactly like what goes into where you choose to incarnate for the first time.
Well, and you're not only ever going to incarnate there.
Right.
We're just talking about, think about your formative toddler years as a human. These are your formative incarnations. They kind of set the foundation for your soul's personality, but you're going to have so much more experience, whether it's on that system or bouncing around throughout, and you go incarnate in 25 different ones. Who knows what you're going to do? That's up to you. That's where your own journey of souls, your personal path as a soul starts to get really unique as you deviate, differentiate, and you're meeting new souls. You're like, oh my God, that sounds super cool. Where are you from? Oh yeah, I'm going there next. I want to check that out, and you can do it. Anything is wide open. There is no wrong way to have a journey of souls. The only thing you need is a willingness to experience, to grow, to do things. So to dive into the life between lives aspect of this for your soul, we talked about how you only send so much energy of your soul to incarnate somewhere. Well, the rest of your soul, and if you're not incarnated anywhere, then the totality of your soul is in a light body in spirit, or I should say, in a light body in service of spirit. Whether your service is working on new knowledge and preparing for your next incarnations, or we look into things that we call your in-between lifetime trainings for our Akashic Record readings. And these are, I'll use the term jobs loosely, but they're kind of like a job that you might have in spirit, or a way to be in service to the Creator and be in service to the One and to all souls.
Yeah, there's about 14 that we look into that have been discovered so far. And these soul trainings resonate very deeply with people when this information is passed along. This is definitely part of your innate strengths.
Well, how many times have we read for somebody and we don't know what their job is, and then after they've got their reading and we're doing the clarity call with them afterwards, and they're a life review counselor, as an in-between lifetime training, one of the services they do as their soul's life between lives. And they're like, yeah, I'm a counselor.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, things like that it's just sometimes you naturally end up in a field here on Earth that actually really plays into this. Other times not, but the similarities are kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, I would say that the things that you just naturally gravitate towards in your lifetime, the things that are like, oh, those are the subjects that are just super easy to me, that I didn't even have to try that hard, that just come so natural to you. Those are typically something that you've been training for in between your lifetime.
Absolutely. I fully agree. And you may not conceptually have a way to know this or talk about this, with others. I didn't until I got my own Akashic Record reading and started doing research for others and extra research for myself. And then it's amazing once you're aware how you can kind of take that awareness as almost a filter or a lens over your eyes and then review your life again and kind of look back and be like, oh, this and this and this makes so much more sense to me now. Where before I didn't quite have a way to explain why that happened, but now I do. Now I understand what was going on.
Right.
So I've mentioned life review counselors, souls that do this. When you come back from Earth, the first thing that you're going to do after you're going to be greeted with your friends or your spirit guide, or you might just take off by yourself if you've been incarnating here enough. Maybe you don't need someone to come meet you right at the point of your last breath when you pass over, but you're going to go back into spirit, probably have a quick little hangout with some friends and your spirit guide, and then you're going to move into a life review. And your higher self and life review counselor souls are going to help you review your life and really make sure that you got the learnings that you needed from that. And if there are areas where you didn't understand or don't quite grasp, or maybe you need the perspective of the other humans involved, you'll actually be able in this life review to understand their motivations, their perspectives from the same situation. So now you can have a more well-rounded understanding, where when we're here in a life, all we can get is what somebody's actions or words that are with us or done to us as a part of that situation that we're in, but you can't really know their perspective or their intent without being them. But in this life review, you could have that opportunity if needed for certain situations and stuff to really fully get the higher perspective and to have more wholeness or well-roundedness for what happened in your life. And some people that are still on Earth, when someone close to you has passed and out of the blue you just start thinking about them a lot, there's a chance that they're in their life review and you're coming up at that point too. That's an interesting little tidbit that we've come across that has definitely, shown up in our lives as well with some of the people that have passed from us. Just out of nowhere in the middle of the blue, you just start thinking about them again.
Or you start having all of these different situations and flashbacks. Memories. I feel like flashbacks is a good word. Flashbacks of things that happen with that person, then there's a good chance that they are in their life review. I feel like the most shocking one, I don't know if shocking is the right word, because maybe shocking is the right word, but the third order. When people find out that they're in the third order, those are typically the ones that are like, how did you know? But the third order are a group of souls that specialize in helping and transporting the newly deceased souls. So a lot of times when these people are incarnated, they're the ones that speak to ghosts. They're the ones that see the mental and emotional bodies floating around. People. Yeah. Although I find it interesting because we've been watching this show we watched this show on Amazon called The Seatbelt Psychic, and he made a distinction between the ghosts and then seeing loved ones. He says he's a medium. He only sees loved ones and ancestors. He doesn't see the emotional and mental bodies that are known as the deceased, the earthbound spirits.
Emily's talking about sometimes when people cross over, they'll still have attachments here to Earth and they won't fully cross over, and their mental or emotional body might stick around. There's a myriad of reasons that this happens, and maybe we'll just do a podcast on earthbound spirits sometime. But it's safe to say there's an attachment here to Earth. These might be considered spirits or ghosts as well. But when this psychic was talking about seeing loved ones, you can be visited by your loved ones that are gone. They're still the perspective of who they were on earth, but now they're released from their body. So they can come visit you through the astrals and be near you or be around or keep an eye on you or send you love or maybe kind of somewhat help your spirit guide team out a bit and try to drop some little nuggets of information to you. And mediums will see this. And that's what Emily was talking about. This one guy, he talks a lot about seeing the loved ones with them and not seeing the ghosts or spirits, but he still can feel them sometimes. It came up a little bit.
Well, he says it makes him sick when when there's earthbound spirits. There was a woman that got into his car that was a mortician, and his face like turned white, and he was just like, honey, I have to drop you off right now because you have about 200 ghosts around you. And she's like, oh, I'm a mortician. That's probably why. So it's just interesting to make that distinction. But anyway, it seems like when people find out that they're a part of the third order, which are the specialized group that helps people after they are deceased, it kind of helps transport them to their next place of expression, their next place in spirit, and guide them in that way. It seems like the people that we tell that are a part of that group, they're like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense. That explains so many things that have happened to me. That explains why I see spirits. So I just find that I feel like that's maybe shocking is the right word, just because they're like, oh, how do you know that about me?
Well, it's often something that people aren't super comfortable sharing as a skill.
That's true, yeah.
And they've gone through instances where they talk to their family or friends, and if someone doesn't share that gift with you, it's hard to wrap your head around. We have a saying on earth, seeing is believing. Well, you're telling me you're seeing things that I can't, so I don't believe you.
Yeah, but that's
so they learn
BS.
That is such BS. But they learn to keep that to themselves, but they're also dealing with spirits and don't always have the tools or skills to really know why it's happening. They're just trying to figure it out and deal with them. And we've talked to some people that have learned some skills and can actually help some of these earthbound spirits cross over or get the help and the resolution they need and kind of end their attachment to the earth plane, which is beautiful when they've already found that out. That we're just like, yes, because we wanted to talk to you about that to make sure you had some skills to safeguard yourself and to help ease the negative side of this third order training along. But it's usually just highly validating for people because they're not sharing that with us beforehand. They tend to be blown away that we can know. Well, we don't know, but your soul's energy and your Akashic Record let us know, so we could make sure to pass it along to you as what's happening. One more I wanted to bring up was the healing in the afterlife. We found a lot of people with these trainings, healing vibrations tend to come naturally to these folks. You'll find them in the medical field and nursing professions, your Reiki energy healers, your Barbara Brennan hands of light therapists.
Yeah, any kind of spiritual. Most of the time, this group of souls is going to be more into like the spiritual healing or just healing in general. But that's going to come very natural to them. They're going to probably have a really strong training in the energetics of the universe and the way the energy moves in the body.
Oh yeah, I think this would be, even if it's not a profession, they're not a nurse or an EMT or an energy healer, they probably have some sort of passion or hobby or fascination with universal energy and how it moves through us all. Or
the chakras and the meridians and things of that nature. All that fun stuff.
So another aspect of your life between lifetimes, before you come to Earth, there are 8 energy centers in the universe that we know of, and they correlate with our chakra system. Most of us are familiar with the 7 main chakras in the body. There's also an 8th one called the Soul Star chakra. That's
been recently discovered within the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's something we came across, and then our mentor actually got in touch with us to update her former students to make sure if we didn't know about it yet, that we did. But the Soul Star chakra is above your crown chakra. This is kind of your inception point where you're going to differentiate from your higher self, and then down into the crown chakra, and your soul energy will come into your human body. So it is kind of where your connection to your higher self resides. The Barbara Brennan teachings would talk about your ID point, your individualization point,
of your Hara line.
Of your Hara line. So again, kind of where your higher self becomes individualized into what's going to be your human expression for this lifetime for your soul. So these 8 centers correlate with our 8 chakras. Part of coming to Earth is you'll train in one of these centers as a soul body. And that brings a vibration about it. So if you train in the 4th realm with your heart chakra, you're naturally going to just vibrate on Earth. Whether you think about it or you're doing anything or conscious of it or not, you're going to be vibrating love, unconditional love and acceptance, whether that's in your personality or not. And as the 8 billion of us that are here, all bringing at least one of these, we help to kind of balance this out on the planet.
And due to the harmonic resonance.
There you go.
Harmonic resonance is when you are with other souls, or it works with tones too, but when you're vibrating a certain frequency and then you get around someone else that vibrates that same frequency and then you get around someone else, then it helps ground that frequency into place, and it also enhances and amplifies that frequency. So if you can think about why we would even want to train in these different frequencies, is so that we're basically holding the energetic template on Earth. We're helping to ground those energies within Earth and hold them into place. So it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful service that we all do while we're here, to make sure we're bringing these energies and anchoring them into the physical, into Mother Gaia deeply, so they're here. I just find that wildly fascinating. And the more you train, the more resonance, the more vibration that you're going to bring with this. Each of these centers have their own flavors and vibes. They match up with our chakras. Someone who trains in the 6th realm, in the 3rd eye chakra, they're going to typically be innately rather intuitive people, probably be driven by truth. Truth is really going to matter in getting to the bottom of things. When something doesn't feel right, you're probably going to have an urge to look underneath or figure it out or find the truth when there isn't any to be found. It just kind of depends. We won't go through all of them, but they all have their own flavor, their own vibe about them. And this will play out in your soul's personality as well when you're here on Earth. I really think your soul group of origination, where your formative incarnations as a soul are, and the energy center that you choose, really solidify the foundation of your soul's personality every time you come to Earth. And then your human life on top of that really enriches that. And the conditioning from our families and friends and our experiences gives us the well-rounded personality. So we have that innate kind of foundation of that soul's personality, but then the human self kind of, and our experiences gets laid on top of that, and our ancestral DNA energy. But this is the foundation that you bring every time.
So like Maddie was saying, that's your foundation. That's who you are every single time you incarnate. And then with all of your experiences and each of your incarnations are what add experience to these foundational energies of your soul. And so you can start to see how it all kind of comes together. A lot of the people that we've read for, they've had well over 100 lifetimes, some over 200 lifetimes. So as you can see, as you have that many different experiences, and in each of your incarnations, just how much breadth of experience that adds to those foundational energies.
And this is how there's 8 billion of us here right now, and not a single one is a carbon copy of the other. Where you may have similarities. We mentioned 33 potential soul group of originations that we know to look for. There will be more discovered in time, I'm sure. And 8 energy centers of training. Well, sure, there's going to be people that are from that same soul group of origination and are mastering the same energy center. But then when you take hundreds of lifetimes on top of that, or even just 5 lifetimes on top of that, there's no way that those experiences are exactly the same. Growing up in different areas of the world and stuff. You may have some similarities with other souls, but guaranteed you are unique. At your core, you are unique. No other soul has had your experience the way you've had them. And I think that's fascinating and super cool.
So we've talked about being a baby soul. We've talked about the first incarnations and the foundation of your soul. And then we talked about the experience that you gain through incarnations, whether that's like on another planet or coming to Earth, which has been known to accelerate your soul's growth because of all of the different energies that combine. All of the challenges essentially that we experience here are part of our soul's growth. And then once we cross over, then we are probably greeted by some sort of being, whether that be the third order being that helps us or our personal spirit guides. And both of our life between lifetimes, both of our past life regressions, we were both greeted.
I went back to spirit without needing help.
Oh yeah, I guess I did too.
But then when I got to spirit,
then we met with our spirit guides. Yeah. And that's usually when you have some sort of review or you kind of take a look at your life that you just had, and you basically just review your performance, if you will, in that lifetime. At
this point, your soul is released from the physical. So you don't have any limitations of the physical. Your consciousness is expanding. The separation, the spiritual amnesia that was chosen while you're in a human body is gone. But you still have the perspective from your human life, that part of the soul that's been altered by that. You haven't fully integrated back with your soul that's been in a light body and spirit. So you're having probably some initial reactions like, oh, I really dropped the ball on this, or I did that even better than I thought I would. You're kind of going through some of that initial like, whew, that's over with. And
that was rough.
But you're not really into the deep life review yet, where you're going to get into the nitty gritties and make sure that all the learnings are fully accepted and understood.
Right. Then you would go to a life review, or you may go study some more to learn. Just kind of depends on what your personal soul is wanting to do.
I know some souls are experienced enough with coming to Earth and leaving that they may just kind of bypass a life review with other souls and just go sit in the records and review it on their own.
Yeah. So as you can see, it just really depends on where you are on your personal path, what feels best to you. If you're the type of person, or if you're the type of soul that enjoys having the help of other people around, or if you're more of like an independent soul, it just really depends on what you need and what you want as a soul. At some point, you'll be integrated completely with your entire soul, and you'll either be doing some sort of service in spirit, or maybe you're helping other souls, just depending on where you are on your growth plan.
Yeah, part of your soul could take some time off from incarnating and maybe choose to be a spirit guide. One of your good soul friends is headed in to Earth, and you're going to be there as one of their guides for them during their time. If you're enjoying this podcast, me and Emily just want to take a moment and personally invite you to leave us a review wherever you're listening from. It would help us tremendously as new podcasters, and it would be a way to connect with us and share your energy and what your experience is like. And seeing as this conversation still has a lot more cool details to follow, we're going to split this into a second part, and we will continue the explanation of life between lives, journey of souls. Everyone's got their unique path, and we're having a lot of fun letting you know what we think about all this personally, from our own spiritual explorations, as well as the work we do in the Akashic Records, literally researching soul personalities and individuals' journey of their soul. Next week we'll be back with a lot more information, and we'll pick up right where we left off. Until then, have a fantastic week. Take care of yourselves. See you later, soul friends.